Hello everyone and welcome back. I did a video a couple of months back on a never-ending tag journal, and it was such a popular video that I decided I was going to do another one because these journals are just really fun to make. So I'm going to use my Old Roses junk journal kit. This is just some of the pages. And I think they will lend themselves well to this type of journal. So I've already cut my cardstock. So what you're going to need is cardstock. I am using 110-pound cardstock. You can probably get by with using 80 because there will be two pieces stuck together. So that's pretty sturdy. Just cut your cardstock in half. Cut your papers in half. This is 8.5 by 11, and I printed borderless, so it really cuts back on the amount of trimming that you need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting some of these papers, and I'll show you how these get put together. The other thing you're going to need besides the paper you're going to use and your cardstock is strips of fabric to hold the tag pages together. So I have here some coffee dyed muslin. It is muslin, and this is important because somebody just asked a question. I thought it was a really good question. I buy really tightly woven muslin at the fabric store. And there is muslin that's really cheap, and it's got a nice, it has an open weave, and that has its purpose but not for this, because you want to use something really strong. I take my fabric and I pre-wash it in very hot water just to shrink it and make it tighter than it was off the shelf. And then I give it a soaking in some strong coffee and let it sit and then dry out. And then I'm going to sew two of these pieces together so we have a double layer of fabric, and it's super strong. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and cut out my papers. My cardstock is already cut out. I have my muslin strips cut out. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these, and then when we come back, I'll show you how to start putting the tags together. I also want to mention that I had another comment that I thought was just a fantastic idea, is to make a tag journal that has 12 pages so that you could use it as a monthly journal. And that's what I'm going to do here. I just thought that was a fantastic suggestion. All right, so guys, let me get set up to get all of these papers cut out. I'm going to go ahead and get these strips sewn up, and then we'll come back. Okay, I have my tags, not my tags, my hinges sewn all the way around, and the length of this is going to depend on the size of your tag. So for instance, here's one that I already cut so I could get a good measurement. I have one of these, but you can also use a template where you cut off, excuse the messiness of this, but you can also take a store card and just make a template and put that up against your tag, cut it, turn it over to this side, cut it again, and then you know that your corners are going to be the same. So the length of your fabric hinges is going to be from the bottom of that tag cut to the bottom. I hope that makes sense. In other words, you don't want it up here and going all the way. You want it to start here and go all the way to the bottom of your tag. And if it hangs out a little bit or it's a little bit short, that really doesn't matter. It's no big deal. Just try to get as close to the length as you possibly can. So all of these are ready to go. I have my cardstock. Again, this is 8.5 by 11, 110-pound cardstock that I simply cut in half. So this would be the whole sheet of paper. Okay. And then, again, this is optional. I cut the papers that I wanted to use. So these are going to be my tag fronts, and these are going to be my tag backs. And the reason behind that is just so maybe you have some writing space or a place to put pockets and tags and things like that. So I want the backs of the tags to be a little bit plainer than the front. Okay? So let's show you how these things are put together. So I'm going to glue. Decide which of the papers that you want to be the front of your tag, because that's where we're starting. Push all this out of the way so we've got room to work. All right, I'm going to glue this down to the cardstock. Now, this is going to happen, and it's okay. Don't freak out. If it's not too much, just ink it a little bit to cover up that white, or trim it. No big deal. All right, so I'm going to glue this down. I'm also going to sew around all of the edges. So I'm putting enough glue on here just to hold the paper down. Okay. Boy, I really cut that one off. All right, and then we're going to do our tag back. So let's glue that down. Okay, so I'm going to separate those, and we're going to do the next set. I'm just going to do a few of these just to get us started, and then I'll go off camera and do the rest of them. All right. Tag fronts over here. Another tag back. You can use glue stick for this part. I'm using art glitter glue. All right, this is a couple of sets to get us started. I'm going to cut these corners. For my tag shape. These things and wet glue do not get along. I'll get that out in a minute. And if you want to round your corners, you need to go ahead and do that now as well. You get something to pull this out. There we go. Yeah, if you're using glue, wait till it dries before you start cutting those corners. It works a whole lot easier. I'm going to round my corners. Actually, that's quite a bit of cardstock. I'm going to trim that off. I don't think I can make that disappear with ink. Boy, I really did a whack job of cutting these. All right, so those are rounded. If you want to make one of these, make sure that you do a much better job of cutting than I've done here. All right, I'm gonna go quickly sew around each of these tags, and then we'll come back and show you how they go together. Okay, I've sewed around the tags, and use a fairly long stitch length because you don't want, if you use a short stitch length, it may cause your papers and card to tear. So I used a 3.5 inch. You can use longer than that if you want. And I've gone ahead and inked around all of the tags. So now all of that sloppy cutting that I did on my cardstock is now disappeared. And I also ink on the back just to be sure that I've covered up all the white areas. Okay, so we have a tag front and a tag back. And to get this thing started, you want to attach one of your fabric hinges to the left-hand side of your front tag. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And these hinges are 2 inches wide. You could probably get by with something not quite as wide, but this is what I'm using. And you should use Fabri-Tac. And now we're going to just flip that over, and we're going to attach the tag back there. So our hinge is now on the right-hand side. And you just line that up as best you can. It's not going to be perfect. It actually looks pretty good. And I've made my first mistake already. We need to put glue all over the tag, not just on the edge. Line that up again. All right. So our hinge is on the right-hand side, and this is our tag back. So the next thing we want to add is a tag front. and we want to leave a little bit of space between the tags in case you want to sew a signature in there. Plus, it just helps the journal to fold up better. So we're going to add some glue right here. All right, and you want to turn that over. And we want to add another hinge right there, okay? And now we can add our tag back. And you want good coverage of glue, especially, whoops, on the edges. Check on both sides for alignment. And that looks pretty good. Oops, glue everywhere. So now we're just going to keep doing that. You flip it back over again. All right. And then you would add this is where it can get confusing. All right, this is the front. This is a front tag. This is a back tag. When we flip it over and we have our front, the next thing you want to add is another back. And then when you flip that over, you want to add another hinge. And then you can put your tag front down. Okay, so I'm gonna do a few more of these just to make sure that it's clear, but I need to go ahead and get all of my tags ready so that we can just keep going with it, okay? So I'll go ahead and prepare all of this stuff off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll do some more of this together. Okay, I have all my tags sewn around the edges and inked front and back. All of my back same way. So we'll go ahead and we'll continue on putting the tags together. So one thing I wanted to mention as an option is that you can print directly to your cardstock. If the cardstock will go through your printer. This is a 110-pound cardstock, and it will not go through my printer. I like using a 110-pound cardstock because when you put two of these together, it's very, very sturdy. So that's an option. It certainly will make the process go a lot faster for you, for sure. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on with doing this. So we're ready to attach the next tag. Since this tag right here is a front, we want to add a back. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue down that edge. Again, we're leaving a little bit of a space, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit less. Okay. Now, let's turn that over. before we add the next tag, we want to add another hinge. So we'll put some glue down this side. All right, so we have a tag back here. Now we're going to add a tag front. And because we have a hinge here ready to go for the next tag, we can go ahead and glue this whole tag down. Making sure you get really good coverage on the edges. Okay. Now it's time to add the next tag. We have a tag back here, and we're going to add a tag front. Let's turn it over. Okay, before we add the next tag, we want to add another hinge. Okay, so here we have a tag front. I'm going to now add a tag back. If you do not have distinct tag backs and tag fronts, then this will be a lot less confusing for you. You can just add your next tag and not worry about it, whether it's a front or back. But I made mine very distinct, so the backs have a border around them. The fronts do not, and that helps me keep things a little bit straight because it can get confusing. And it would help if you put glue on the tag. I'm so busy telling you what you need to do, and then I'm not taking care of business here. Okay. Press that down and check it on both sides for our alignment. That looks good. Okay, now we can turn it back over again, and we have our hinge here ready for the next tag. So tag front, tag back. I'm going to turn this over. It's getting kind of long. I'm going to turn it over now and add another hinge. Now we can add the next tag, this tag back. Now we're going to add a tag front. Check it. Okay, so I think you got the gist of what I'm doing now, so I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of these tags and kind of speed things up and put it to music, okay? And so when we turn it over this time, we're not going to add another hinge. We're just going to glue this straight down. Okay, so there you have it. It is very long. Okay, so let's fold this up. This was our front. So we're just going to fold it like this. And it's not really all that thick with 12 tags. I thought it might be a little fat, but it's not. So You go through it, and everywhere there's one of these, you can put a little signature. I'm turning this into like a monthly journal. I'm going to probably add some calendar pages, some blank journaling pages, and they can all be sewn here in all of these hinges, one for each month. Okay. And there's the end. That's the back of the journal, and you just start over again, and you can continue adding whatever you want it to in here. Okay. I have lots of ephemera and pockets in this kit. I'm not going to add all of it, but I'm certainly going to add some pockets and things to include inside. So I've got to do a lot of cutting. I've got to go design some like calendar pages to include in the signatures. And then once I've done that, I'll come back and show you what I came up with. And now we're back to the front of the journal again. Okay, so that's the base. I am going to add the things we just talked about to it, and I'll come back in a second video and do a flip through. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, guys. These are so much fun to make. And they're awesome. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll come back and look at the flip through once everything has been placed inside. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very blessed day. Bye.